Welcome back, everybody, to Zlatan's Fight Picks. Today is the recap show for Volkanovski versus Rodriguez, UFC 290. We'll go over the fights, talk about the fights a little bit, and go over our picks. So let's get started. Our most confident pick, we'll go in order from most confident to least confident. Our most confident pick was Bo Nickel at a high rate. And I was worried because technically, traditionally, I tend to blow the most confident pick where it's a massive upset, usually against me. But so I was worried, and then I actually had a really small bet on the other way just because of the tradition. I thought, well, maybe I'll take advantage of it, but it didn't work. So there you go. Bo Nickel dominated the fight. Didn't even have to take it to the ground. Showed off his striking, and I mean, who did he really fight? Honestly, so he is a great prospect. No doubt about that. But I mean, he fought nobody. So, take it for what it's worth. We still haven't seen him tested. Moving on, Madalena had picked him at 59. I had posted a couple of these picks, these picks from most confident to least confident, and everybody kept saying to me, Madalena's not fighting. It's like, well, yeah, okay, we get it. Some people just like to nitpick for the smallest of things. Big deal if he's not fighting. Just move on to the next picks. Like, seriously. Nevertheless, Madeleine is fighting on the next card. So, we're going to pick him no matter what. That's what I told everybody. It doesn't matter if he's fighting or not. I'm going to pick him. Next one. Volkanovski. There you go. What we were talking about was Volkanovski. If he could take Islam Makhachev down, he's going to be able to take down Rodriguez down. And Rodriguez is very dangerous on the feet. He's always live for a fantastic KO kick, super great kicks. Volkanovski stayed away just enough, using his distance management not to get hurt. He got kicked a couple of good times. He returned some kicks. He got some, they exchanged some pretty good strikes. Overall, Volkanovski still got the better of the striking, I would say. But, he's always in danger when he's on his feet. And guess what? He took him to the ground. He took him to the ground over and over again, and he kept him on the ground, and he controlled him on the ground, and eventually he won. He won the fight by stoppage because he's got massive ground and pound. As expected, high degree of probability, but we picked him and it was good. I mean, it was I don't know, it wasn't too hard. Everybody, granted, Rodriguez was live for the massive upset, but yeah, Volkanovski, my boy. So round one for Macedonia, or 1 point for Macedonia. Good for him. Moving on, Turner. He was high, for us, a high degree, high probability pick. But it was a split decision. Definitely a close fight. Could have gone either way. Went to, what's his name? Dan Hooker's. But, I mean, I saw something in Dan Hooker I thought was lost. He seemed like he had a great chin. He took a lot of shots from Turner, and Turner has proven that he's got some power. So I was really impressed with Dan Hooker and how he just grinded this one out and how he fought on the feet, on the ground, just overall everywhere. He was, thoroughly surprised. Everyone was counting him out. I was counting him out. I thought, yeah, he's at the tail end of his career, took a lot of damage. He's becoming a little chinny. But man, he did great. And once Turner couldn't put him away with his striking, because he did hit him quite a few times very well. He hit him hard. He hit him consistently. And he just kept moving forward. And you saw Turner start to fade. And that is something I've never seen in Turner where, well, not lately especially, where he had so much pressure put on him by a striker who took his shots and kept coming forward and kept coming forward and kept coming forward. And it seemed like he was fading. He also seemed like he got tired. Now, he also missed weight. So that might have something to do with it, with his training regimen. Who knows? Who knows what happened there? But he seemed to get tired. But he was, Dan Hooker, instead of getting knocked out by putting all that pressure on him, ended up wilting Turner in respect to that. So yeah, Dan Hooker looked great. Turner didn't look great. So up to now, Dan Hooker's been looking worse and worse, and Turner's been looking better and better. And I think we put a lot into when Turner fought. What's a Polish wrestler's name? And he was fairly highly ranked, and then now we've seen some holes in his game as well. What's that guy? It's eluding me. Anyways, it's the Polish grappler. He was ranked number 8. He just recently lost a decision, and what's his name? Yeah, anyways, from that fight, I would say Turner got a huge amount of respect. I think he ended up losing that fight in a really close decision, and the amount of respect he got for that. And I think we ended up probably overestimating that fight, the fighter himself, because we saw him, fade in a couple of other matches and lose a couple other matches. What's his name? Anyways. Nevertheless, we know it's going to bother me. Let me just look it up real quick. Okay, hold on. Who did he fight? I gotta get this guy's name. I gotta get his name. Come on. Let's go. Let's do this. What's his name? Turner. Okay, so we'll look up Turner. So Jalen Turner. Let's go here. Oh, I just thought of it before I even popped up. Gamrot. Right before even the screen came up. Yeah, Gamrot. Yeah. Matthias Gamrot. See, I just popped in my head just as before even it popped on the screen. Yeah, so he fought Matthias Gamrot and he lost a split decision. And because Matthias Gamrot was so highly touted at that point, I didn't think it was going to be that close. And everybody, with that loss, he got a lot of credit and a lot of street cred for that, because everybody thought Gamrot was just so good. But as we saw when he fought Danil Dariush, that there was a lot of holes to his game as well. So going from that fight, I think he got maybe overinflated. Like, I know what he did to me, so I thought he was like a world beater. But in this fight, I don't know what happened. Either a training regimen broke down or something happened. He did not look that great. And Dan Hooker, he looked great at the beginning, but Dan Hooker looked like he just kept putting the pressure on him. And Dan Hooker looked great, So, yeah, split decision loss. Unfortunate for us. It went against us. It was a close fight, but definitely interested to see the next matchups for both those guys and to see where the odds are going to come at. In a way, this is kind of a good thing, because it won't be so one-sided for Turner now for a lot of the fights now that he lost a split decision, which is good. Good for us. So, nevertheless, it was a mistake, split decision. Unfortunate. Moving on, Whitaker. Whitaker was a high probability pick. He's definitely a more talented striker. But, there was a side to me that wanted to pick Jacques du Plessis, but didn't look like he was tested enough. But he was definitely he had momentum. He was winning. He was beating everybody. He was finding a way to beat everybody. And one thing about Dracus is that he seems to fight at the level of opponent that he's fighting against. And he seemed to have taken it up a notch every single time he fought somebody. He fought just enough to beat the guy. So he seemed to lift up his level of fighting skills every time he fought. So, I think the guy's the real deal now. Look who he just beat. You know what? If he's fighting for the championship, I'm betting on him. So he's got momentum. He seems like he's got a great game plan with his team. There's a lot of things going in this guy's direction, and it could be his time. definitely looking forward to that the title fight. Whitaker, I mean, he's great, you know, and he was doing pretty good. It was a back and forth in the first round, and technically, you know, but yeah, he just lost against a bigger, stronger fighter. Just, you know, Duplessis is a monster. He's strong. He could take a lot of punishment, and he finds a way to win. And good on him. That's a great attribute. And apparently he had his nose surgery done, and he says he felt way better. He did look way better. His gas tank looked better, so maybe it made a huge difference with his breathing. Nevertheless, moving on. Tatsu Taira. Who did he fight? Where was that? Oh yeah, Cherez. I mean, Tatsu Taira won the fight, but Cherez looked great. So, you know, and Tatsu Taira is another one of those guys. He seems like he's always in compromising situations, but he always finds a way to win. So every guy he's fought has put him in a compromising situation where he kind of fought through adversity and won using his skills, and he's always been able to do that. So, you know, it's like kind of Duplessis. Like Cherez came close, but I don't want that to taint Taira because I think Cherez is a real good fighter, and I think Taira seems to fight at the level of whoever he's fighting against, and always seems to come and pull out a victory. But this was a close fight, and Cherez really made a good account of himself on the striking, on the ground, and everywhere. Looking forward to watch him fight to see where he's at as far as the odds. But Taira, you know, he pulled it out, and then he won the fight. But Cherez coming in on short notice, looking the way he did, yeah, it was a fantastic fight. I mean, there was a few moments there that you're worried about Taira losing. And Taira, but I mean, I really wasn't worried because, I mean, it seems like he puts himself in those moments against everybody, but he just works through it and he wins. So, I mean, I don't think that this is his level. He seems to be upping his level with every single fight, with every single person he is fighting. You know, hopefully he doesn't get so far behind in some stuff that he can't catch up, but he seems like he's pulling it off. But nevertheless, Taira was also, I think this was like his third weight cut or something like that. So, I mean, that might have something to do with it. Who knows? But nevertheless, it was a really good fight. It's a close fight. A little worried about it for a little bit, but both those fighters made a good account of themselves. It was great. Next fight, Petrino. Well, I mean, Petrino won the fight, and he won it the way he found a way to win. He definitely big advantage on the ground. Took what's his name, Prachnio to the ground multiple times. Prachnio, you know, was the better striker, more accurate striker. Petrino has a problem of getting hit. He doesn't move his head very much. He's getting tagged up a lot, but he's big, he's strong, and he took all the shots. Prachnio looked great, you know, apart from the ground game, and even in the ground game, he had pretty good defense. It's just that Petrino was so strong to hold him down. If it was just sheer strength that was holding Prachnio down. So Prachnio looked better than I thought. Petrino looked a little more vulnerable than I thought, especially on the feet. You know, I didn't realize he, you know, Prachnio could just hurt him so much and hit him so many times clean on. And apart from him being just strong as a bull, he could have, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's always dangerous when you get hit that many times cleanly. And Prachnio looked really, like I said, a lot better. Petrino, definitely some holes in his game. Yeah, he was a minus 250 favorite, and he found a way to win. So he's very versatile. You know, he's well-rounded. He went to the ground. And I think he might be going to the ground against a lot of guys because he seemed a little slow on the feet. And he seemed like he was taking a lot of shots. Now, if you're doing that against Prachnio, as you go up, it only gets worse. And Prachnio did look really good, though. Nevertheless, Petrino was the pick. Petrino did win. Moving on. And yeah, he won by submission in the end, right? So, I mean, definitely his ground game looked great. Something he can rely on, I guess. He was multifaceted. Moving on. 53%, we had Pantoja. Oh, that was our first underdog pick. Yes, feeling good about it. I mean, realistically, there were 6 underdogs that won on this card. I mean, that's almost half the card. I mean, that's great news if you were actually smart enough to pick it. This the payout would be a monster, right? But nevertheless, Pantoja was the pick. You know, I mean, Moreno definitely improved since the last two fights he fought against Pantoja. Striking wise, he looked really good. Pantoja, I don't know if he underestimated Moreno's improvement in the striking, but Pantoja was taking a lot of clean shots, a lot of jabs, you know, a lot of clean shots, and Pantoja was eating them. And this goes to show how tough Pantoja is, but it also goes to show how much improved Moreno is in his striking since the last fight. I mean, I think Pantoja clearly won the fight. You know, they went with a split decision. I don't think it was a split decision. Pantoja won the fight. I don't think it was a blowout. It was close, but it wasn't a split decision close. I thought, you know, there was 3 rounds to 2. Definitely for Pantoja. I think Pantoja definitely. I don't know. I just think he was going to walk through Moreno. I think Pantoja's really got to improve his striking defense. Definitely. But you know, he's definitely tough, good on the ground, well-rounded. He's got good strikes. He didn't really get that many kicks off. He normally beats up the legs really bad. He didn't seem to be able to do it against Moreno. Maybe it's because of his jab and the striking of when he was kicking. But nevertheless, it was a good underdog play. He won. He deserved it. The guy waited forever to get this shot. And I always said, like, why is this guy not getting a shot? I mean, it's years he's on the back burner. Like, it was just totally unfair. And he's been this good for years. Like, it's not like he's just up and coming. He's like, what, he's 33 years old or something? I mean, he's been this good for quite a while. Where is he here? It's a different one. What? Oops. Yeah, here he is. Yeah, he's 33. You know, I mean, it's not the guy's a newcomer. Nevertheless, he won. Saman. Where was he? Who did Saman fight? Was this guy? It was this guy. Against Terrence Mitchell. Yeah. Well, it was a total blowout. You know, Saman, he's definitely an up-and-comer. Terrence Mitchell, I mean, he showed some flashes of greatness, but he was quickly broken and dominated. So it wasn't even close. I mean, it's good to, but it's hard to say, you know, I mean, Saman could be a huge prospect, and Mitchell might be a lot better than he looked against Saman because Saman is so, you know, so good. But we don't even know how good Saman is. So it was hard to match it up. Mitchell did have flashes. Seemed like he's got some potential. I mean, he's not going to be a world beater, but he's, you know, I think he can win some matches in the UFC. Saman looked great. I think we definitely got to move him up to some heavier competition in mid-range. Nevertheless, it worked out. He was a minus 550 favorite. I mean, he was a huge favorite and well deserved. Nevertheless, moving on. Gerard Way. Oh man, you know what? Gerard Way is definitely the better striker. But what about Gomes? Wow, this is the second time she's taken out these prospects, and in knockout fashion. You know, like, I mean, she's hugely improved. She's very disciplined. She's got a good game plan, and she's very accurate with her right hand, and she's got a lot of power, and she just seems to be getting better, you know? And against these strikers, I mean, she's just, I mean, who knows what would have happened if she did not knock out Jaragway. She could have very well lost the decision against a better technical striker. So having such a fast knockout doesn't really tell us anything. But she, I mean, it wasn't just one punch. She had 3 super accurate punches right on the money. So Jaragway did take the first one. She fell. She got hit a second time, I think, on her way down, and then on her, and again a third time. Like, I mean, the punches by Gomes were very accurate. And Jaragway, to her credit, still was fighting and in the fight and trying to get back up. And Gomes was all over her, and accurate, strong punches while she was holding her up against the fence, and she wouldn't let her get back up. So, I mean, apart from that perfect shot, how going into the fight further down, I mean, I don't, you know, like, such a fast knockout doesn't tell us a lot. But Gomes is very dangerous because the second time she did it. Jericho, first loss, so you don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But at minus 400, well, thank God she lost, because at least next time it won't be minus 400 whenever she's fighting anyone else, and it'll be better for us. But nevertheless, Gomes, great victory, good for her. A huge dog came out, first punch landed. I mean, it was one of the faster knockouts in the UFC. Good for her. Jericho, I don't think she's out of it. I think she's going to learn from this. Definitely got to be careful of the one. I mean, never being knocked out. This is a total learning experience for her. Nevertheless, unfortunately, we were wrong on that because of that. It was a KO. We were wrong on that one. It was KO. We were wrong on that one. It was a KO. We were wrong on that one. It was a KO. So we're moving on to that. Might as well talk about that. Nico Price. People were saying, well, Nico Price is not that good and this and that. And they're like, well, Nico Price is not that good. Hopefully, he doesn't sit there and just fight on the feet against Robbie Lawler. I mean, the only way Robbie Lawler can win is if he stands in front of him, and exactly what he gets dead in front of him. And it didn't even get very far before Lawler cracked him and just unleashed some uppercuts and just, knocked him out cold. Nevertheless, we had thought Nico Price was going to beat the old guy, but the old guy, to his credit, last fight, fairy tale story, won his last fight by knockout, and he retired. Good for him. Nico Price, yeah, well, who knows? He didn't look good at all, not at all. But nevertheless, it's one of those things. It was a quicker knockout. It's hard to tell, when he gets in that brawl, gets a quick knockout. I mean, is he, done, or is he fading fast, or is it just one of those things like Jericho where it just kind of happened? It's hard to tell. It was too fast. But nevertheless, the story was good. Lawler won last fight, retirement fight. We got it wrong. He was a pretty big favorite too. So moving on, Aguilar, we had picked Aguilar, and like I was saying, his looping overhand punches and hooks work because of the threat of the takedown, and it's exactly what happened. He had a huge threat. He was going down, pretending to be to go down against Ross, and he came up with an overhand right and just knocked him out cold. I think it's one of the fastest knockouts, in UFC. I can't remember where it was at. I can't remember which was the second fastest knockout or something like that. It was a great fight. Was it the second fastest knockout? Am I confusing that with something else? I thought it was. It was something like that. It was quick. And Aguilar looked great. Good for him. Looking forward to see him in the next fight. I mean, Ross, he's not super high level or anything, but Aguilar, because, when you knock out somebody in the lower rankings, that's what you should be doing, right? Especially if you're going to be considered a higher rank type of guy or somebody with potential. Aguilar looked great. We picked it. It was only minus 150 favorite. Looked good. Next fight, it was our second underdog we picked, Manyfield. Yeah, after that last fight, there was no way I was betting on Crute. Everyone's like, oh, he's coming back, and he came back as a favorite. Manyfield's an underdog. I couldn't believe it. I'm there like, wow, maybe nobody's paying attention to what happened to Crute last time, and how bad Crute looked. Just never mind how good Manyfield looked. How bad did Crute look? And it was even more pronounced now. And Manyfield, you know what? He's stepped up his training. He's not gassing. He's got good defense on the takedown defense. And he showed a wrinkle to his game. He had a submission on Crute. It's a fairly dominant performance. So, nevertheless, overall we did okay. It was, what we got? 9 right? 9 out of 13? It's not bad. This split decision could have gone either way. Not bad. And the ones we got wrong were like, those are the lightnings, knockout. First within like the first punch, knockout within a few punches of the fight. So those are the ones that are hardest to predict, because it could happen to anybody. So those ones, there you go. This one was a fantastic upset. This one split decision. We're close. We're getting up there. Nevertheless, I'm going to be putting out the next video tomorrow. And I've almost got just a couple more fights to look at for the fight night. Who's that? Holmes versus what's that girl's name? I got it somewhere. Anyways, UFC Fight Night Vegas. So we'll put that video out tomorrow, and then next week we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a recap or a video for next week because I will not be in town. We'll be on vacation, so I'll try to put something out, but I do not know if I'll be able to. Nevertheless, thank you very much for joining me. If you like the material, please hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, and it'll give you notifications when I put out my next video. It doesn't cost you any money to like. It doesn't cost you any money to subscribe. Feel free to do one of those. It helps me out with the algorithm. Nevertheless, thank you very much for joining me, and we will see you tomorrow.